Hey there! Did you know Baker's always gives you savings and rewards on top of our lower-than-low prices? And when you download the Baker's app, you'll enjoy over $500 in savings every week with digital coupons. And don't forget fuel points to help you save up to $1 per gallon at the pump. Want to save even more? With a Boost membership, you'll get double fuel points and free delivery. So shop and save big at Baker's today. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
This podcast is made possible through donations from listeners like you and our partners at Goalie Ashwa Gummies. You can find them at goalie.com. Use promo code the Show Up Dad Foundation to get 10% off your order. Zenderance Active Wellness and Sports Nutrition. Their products are designed to maximize your health. At Zenderance, they strive to support and have a positive impact on the wellness of every hardworking dad. Use my code the Show Up Dad and get 10% off your next purchase. For more info, go to www.zenderance.com. Tall Man Equipment, standing taller than the rest of the competition in lineman tools since 1952. Give them a follow at www.tallmanequipment.com. And last but not least, Adam Lane Smith. He is an attachment specialist who helps people to heal, connect, and build. Use my promo code SHOW, spelled S-H-O-W, for a 50% discount on his attachment bootcamp course. Thank you. Welcome to the Show Up Dad podcast. This podcast is created for hardworking fathers. At the Show Up Dad, we recognize that fathers providing for their children is certainly important, but when men truly understand their unique role and gain the knowledge and skills to be great fathers, they can impact.
They didn't even score me, dude. They just said, "No, we're sorry, we can't. We're not going to accept it."
Wow.
Right, dude, for real, man. So, right after that, I got hired on. My dad was a 30-year Teamster, and mind you, I've never had a relationship. I didn't meet my dad until I was 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I got the connections to my dad. I joined the Teamsters, and I went to work for a gas company, gas contractor.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, distribution. They have a distribution section and a transmission section. I did that for about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Got married, and then I had my 2 daughters, and everything was going good. And then I just, after my ex-wife had her 2 kids and stuff, we just became 2 different people, I guess. And she became a mom, and I still wanted to be out doing what I was doing, and how I met her, partying and stuff like that. And obviously that puts a damper on things. I know I'm all over the place, so I'm trying to remember the backstory and the front story. So, we ended up getting divorced. Well, through that time. So then, when I didn't get accepted in the apprenticeship, whatever, working at the gas company, and as then I got married, had my kids, and then we're going through a divorce and stuff, and then I had to resign from the gas company because it was just having politic problems within the company, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody gets fired from the gas company, and they're like, "Paul, you can either resign or we're going to fire you." And I was like, "All right, I'll resign." So I went on unemployment for 2 years. I ended up moving out of my house. I left the house with the ex-wife, and then moved to a little 1-bedroom apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And then my buddy called me again, and he was like, "Hey man, have you thought about applying for the apprenticeship again?" And I was like, F that place, and this and that. But by this time, I'd already had my Class A driver's license. I had more construction experience with stuff. So then now that the apprenticeship had kind of advanced a little more, so there were still applications, but they wanted, color copied IDs and your color copy Social Security and all that. So it was still a little bit easier to apply.
Yeah.
I had one more time. They still had some of my stuff on file. And in the meantime, I was just, running amok, I guess, trying to be a half-ass father with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't got to the divorce yet, but we're just separated. And still, messing around. A buddy of mine, Carlos Giron, who I owe a lot to, he owned a trucking company. And he had me driving a box truck for him. So when I filled out the application the second time, I didn't hear from the apprenticeship for a long time. Well, during that time, what had happened was at the apprenticeship, because when you apply, if someone apply interviews, or if someone has more experience or whatever, your number drops, right? Or if you're number 7, if someone goes above you, you go back up to 50 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So at that time, they weren't giving any interviews. So like for like 2 years. So my number just kept dropping and dropping. So I was never getting pushed back.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I was driving a box truck for like $375 to San Francisco for like one trip or whatever. And Armando Mendez called me and he was like, hey, and this is like 2 years later. He's like, I was just wondering if you were still interested in the lineman apprenticeship program or whatever. And I was like, what? I pulled the truck over and I called my buddy Carlos. I was like, hey, bud, you're gonna have to find someone to take this load up for you or whatever, because I'm turning around, so he was cool with it, whatever. And yeah, so I ended up getting into the apprenticeship, 38 or 39, and now back to, getting out of the joint, and then, going through all that, and then being, having that experience, and then having I'm 39 and having a 28-year-old or 25-year-old journeyman, right?
Yeah.
Like, talk so much shit to me and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, Paul, listen, man, this is your last chance. You need to not mess this up. So that was hard. That was hard, and I had a buddy he's a buddy of mine now. His name is Noel Smart. He's from Arizona. He's a journeyman lineman. He's a GF over somewhere. And I knew he didn't like me, right? I was like a 5th step apprentice, and I still didn't know anything, because when I first got in, I was on the Sunrise transmission job, right, for like a year and a half, 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So they throw you on distribution. I didn't see a wood pole till I was a 5th step apprentice.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So imagine what I sucked, right? And I have no problem with that I sucked. A lot of linemen know I sucked. I owe a lot to a lot of linemen that have, took me under their wings and stuff, when Noel was one of them. He had told me one time I was messing up on the job or something, and when you're like an apprentice, right, when you don't really know what to do next, you'll go and try to take the other guy's job, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I was doing, and we went to set the pole, and I didn't put the cutouts on or something like that. And he's like, cutouts, and I said, Paul, I don't need you grabbing a bolt out of my hand to help me out, this, that. He's like, and he said to me, and this really stuck with me. He said, you know what, Paul? He's all, do you mean to tell me that I want this more for you than you want it for yourself?
Wow.
And I was just like, and this is coming from some dude I think's like, a crazy white boy racist from Arizona, and he's telling me this,
Yeah.
And that really stuck with me after that. And from then on, that's when, I guess you say, I boomed up and stuff like that. And it was hard for me the last part of my apprenticeship, coming back down to SoCal, because I was up north at the time, and learning that tech, and having, these younger guys that are journeymen, and I'm thinking, like, yeah, I'm not, in the joint, this motherfucker disrespecting me or talk to me like that,
Yeah.
So I've had the best of both worlds, I guess you can say, right? Mm-hmm. And early on in my career as a journeyman, I was, you're still, as a journeyman, you're just learning, right? Just every day. And I've learned stuff from apprentices, other linemen, roundmen, and early on, I became, like that yeller guy or whatever and stuff, and now I'm more trying to be the teacher and stuff, and, teach from my experiences and learn from other people's. So,
yeah. How has that helped you now? Like having that sense of patience, right? Developing patience, because patience is something that we need to work on and develop, right? So now that you've been working on that patience with your apprentices and stuff like that, have you been able to implement that with your daughters and stuff like that as well?
You know what, man, that's hard, because one thing, how can I explain it? So my ex-wife, we had like 70-30 custody, and I've never been an absent father.
Okay.
I've been around as far as like my physical presence because of my job and stuff. Like that, and because of my own selfishness as well. But I've never been an absent father. Like, we talk on the phone every day, so I'd send them money, or take them out to go eat, buy them clothes and stuff like that. But the patience with them. So growing up, with them, I was more of that father the way that my mother raised me, where it was the you don't take no shit, right? Like, my kids I'm not gonna take my kids to Target, and they're gonna be running around playing inside the clothes rack and stuff like that. Like, no, no, you're gonna get your little ass beat right here because you're making this, So whether you want to call that being impatient or not, I don't know what you call that, but so I did that for like the first 5 years of their lives, right?
Yeah.
And then that, like, I never had to worry about it, really. I never had to worry about them being the bad kids and throwing themselves on the floor and having a temper tantrum and all that. Could I have been a better father? Could I be a better father still to this day? Absolutely. I'm selfish as far as what Paul's going to take care of Paul, and Paul wants to do what Paul wants to do, and it's still my immaturity of that, of thinking that life does owe me something as far as what was taken from me or what I allowed to be taken from me by going to prison. And now my daughters, they're young ladies now. They both have jobs. They both go to college and stuff. And I still want to spend time with them and see them and stuff. And now they don't really have time for dad, right? Because they have their own little lives. So now I'm feeling it like, boy, what, you can't call me, like you want to hang out with your dad, or you're only calling me for money, So now I'm feeling it, and it does hurt. I'm getting choked up a little bit, and it hurts a little bit, But that's just a product of the broken family as well. And but their mothers, they are what they are today because of their mother. They're good kids, and I give a lot of props to my ex-wife on how they were raised. So, come on, Dave.
The good thing though, Paul, is you're still a father until you go away, right?
Right.
So every day is another opportunity and another chance to be in their life and to bridge those connections. For me, I was an absent father because I was always on the road. I tramped around for work, right? And with that being said, I didn't have a good relationship with my own daughter. She's 16 years old now. And barely within the last 2 years, I've been able to really turn things around just by being intentional and just letting her be her, and I still make mistakes. Like my wife still points out stuff that I do. Like, man, when she's telling you something, like prime example, right? The other day, she was talking about this young boy that she likes. And she was saying, he likes country music, Dad. What do you think? And I told her, right out of the gates, I made it about myself. I'm like, well, I don't like country music, and if he's going to like country music, he needs to listen to red dirt music, none of that mainstream bull crap and whatever, you know what I mean? And my wife had to elbow me and she's like, hey, and I'm like, what? I'm just expressing what my opinion. She's like, oh, it's not about you. She's asking you, Dad, what you think about this young boy because your opinion matters. And then I was like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? And it's absolutely true. You know what I mean? Our daughters want to know that we accept them for who they are.
Right. And so that's the thing is I've missed that as well. Because see, you're married, and you're in the household now with your daughter, right?
Yeah.
And that input or that output with my kids, and hey, Dad, what do you think? I mean, I've had that conversation a couple of times, but they had that conversation more with your mother, Then we're also where I think I messed up too is as them growing up, and like I said, I was never an absent father, as them growing, but absent not absent physically, but not absent as in still being in their lives. I think I made the mistake by being more of their friend, like being the cool dad.
Yeah.
Being the cool dad and letting them think that I'm more of a friend than an authority figure to them, And so I, can sit here and tell my daughter, one of my daughters, she got in some trouble at school for drugs or for like some weed, right? And so I'm going to sit down and have this talk with her about you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that when, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But I feel like I have no right to, tell her, what fucking up or what she's doing wrong when I'm the biggest one to mess up or to do wrong, but then again, I need to realize as well, I'm like, no, you need to sit down, you need to have that talk with her and you need to have her respect you and your decision or your opinion on how you feel about what she has done. And I guess at the point, I don't know, I guess I just want my daughters to still love me and I don't want to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm actually dealing with that now. And even them as being young adults.
And I think that's the guilt that we carry as fathers too, is like, we don't want to, especially like if you have this guilt already of feeling like you were not there for them, then that keeps us from really being the authoritative figure, the father that they need at that moment. Right. Which is, Dad, I need your opinion. Dad, I need you to tell me what you would do, and I think that affects a lot of fathers. It affected me. Affected all kinds of other guys I talked to too. They're like, man, I just don't want to be mean because I'm trying to make up for lost time. You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly what it is. Because I only have a little short amount of time, right?
Yeah.
To hang out with them for the day or whatever, because they don't want to spend the night at Dad's house anymore. You
Mhm.
know, they came over for Christmas. They came up here. I'm up north right now. They came up here for Christmas, and it was cool. And I kind of feel like when they're around me, I have to do this total like extra entertainment thing, right? Like if they're
Mm.
on the couch on their phones watching TV, I feel like they're bored. So I'm like, hey, let's get up, let's go do something, or whatever. Like I feel like I have to do that. And
Mhm.
if they're saying, Dad, like, no, we just like want to chill out or whatever, like it's hard for me to like it's the guilt part, it's the
Yeah.
guilt part that I feel like I need to do extra when maybe I don't, but I feel I do.
What I've learned, Paul, and what I've done, dude, is I asked them what they want to do. Like, because I get it, dude. I would come home from being gone for months at a time or whatever, and then I wanted to, take them out and buy them stuff or spend time with them or do it. And they just wanted to chill, bro. Even now, dude, like I just
Right,
came back from Sacramento, right? I was gone
right.
out there for a week to go teach rubber gloving. And I came home and I'm like, let's go do something, guys. And they're like, we just want to chill, Dad. And I'm like, all right, and it's that forever trying to make up for that lost time, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? But
So
if you
at that point, is it you? Excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry.
no, no,
Um,
good.
so at that point, are we doing it for them or are we doing it for ourselves as far as like, hey, what do you want to do? What do you want, you know what I mean? So that's like being selfish, right? If we say, oh, obviously I'm doing it for myself
Hmm.
to so I don't feel guilty, you know, and
Uh,
that's the wrong way to approach it, I guess you could say, if you just want to chill, just let them chill.
I don't
And
necessarily think it's selfish though, Paul. You know what I think it is, honestly? I think it's our own inability to be comfortable. We are not used to being in that space, right? Because men are like boxes, right? We compartmentalize everything. And I tell this to all my apprentices. When we're in a box that we're uncomfortable with, what are we going to do? We're going to jump out of that box and go to a box that we're comfortable in, whether it be line work or working on a vehicle or boxing or whatever it may be. Wherever you feel comfortable is where you're going to want to spend your time. So when you're in this box of being dad and you're not comfortable, the
Mhm.
reason being is because you're not spending enough time there, and you got to start doing those little micro doses. Start spending time. Start getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, so that's what I've been stressing to all these guys that I talk with because they're like, man, I don't, it's not that I don't want to be home. I'm working 80, 90 hours. He's like, when I get home, I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah,
Do you
right.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the same thing. It's when I get with when I'm with my daughters, I don't know what to do with myself. Like I said, I want to. It's I don't need, like I don't I know their personalities and I know what they like and I know what they don't like,
Hmm.
and I just feel that like right now, my oldest daughter, she just got this new boyfriend, or they've been together for a minute, and she'll be 21 next month on the 8th. So she's
Uh,
a grown woman, right? But she's still so innocent to me. Like she still acts like the things that she does and the way she go about things. Maybe it's just her generation,
mhm.
that Gen Z or millennial, whatever you want to call them. That am I supposed to be mad or upset that she didn't ask me, about this guy, or she hasn't asked me, anything, any advice about it, right?
Mhm.
And so I don't know what this kid's like or whatever. So we were talking on the phone the other day, and I was talking about what were we talking about? She's gonna either come up here or I was gonna go down there. And I said, well, make sure you bring Mark with you. And she's like, what? You want me to bring him? I'm like, yeah, I want you to bring him. I want to meet him. Like, I'm meeting my daughter's boyfriend at 20 when she's 21 years old. You
Yeah.
know, and she did say though, he reminds me of you sometimes. So I don't know if that's a fucking good thing or a bad thing. you know.
All right. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So they say that the daddy issues and all that stuff, and I don't want to believe that either one of my daughters are going to have daddy issues or have them.
Hmm.
But as of late, they've been saying things here and there to where it's kind of like, are you just saying that to mess with me, or is that how you really feel?
Hmm.
And we haven't really got too in depth about it. Maybe I should take them over to your house one day. We should all have an intervention or something like that. Pick their brain.
You're more than welcome to. You're always welcome in my house, Paul. Um, the crazy part though is that it's gonna come, and you have to be prepared for when that day comes,
Right.
you know. And
Yes.
the biggest thing I think for fathers, and I tell dads this all the time because I've dealt with this even with my own father, is it's not what we think we did to them or didn't do. It's the way that they perceived what we did or didn't do. You know what I'm saying? So we
Right.
may have a different perspective and be like, I did not mean that at all. But the way they took it in their little mind when they were young or whatever, you know what I'm saying? That's
Yes.
what they built, and that's the lens they're looking through. So we need to be able to look at it through an empathetic mind and
Right.
point of view and be able to say, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry I made you feel that way. And
Yes.
that right there begins that process of the healing to bridge that gap. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. And I've done a lot of that because my delivery and my obviously my at the time I thought that my parenting skills were the best,
Yeah.
and obviously things that are being said now and the way that they act and stuff, like I said, they're not bad kids at all.
But yeah, that's one of the big mistakes I see with a lot of fathers is they don't want to take responsibility, or it wasn't that bad, or when I hit you in the head with the boot and knocked you out, that wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I've had conversations with my old man, and I'm like, man, why did you hit me like that?
Yeah.
Because I had my
Right.
old man hit me with a boot one time. It was crazy, dude. I'll share the story with you real quick.
Yeah. Sure.
One time, my dad had just got me a Nintendo, right?
Hmm.
And he got me this Nintendo and everything. He told us, he was very strict. He's like, you guys need to go to bed. You guys are staying up too late. You got school tomorrow. Be in bed by 9. So what did I do? I got up on the desk that my mom had and I put a blanket over myself, dude. And I'm over there playing Super Mario Brothers or whatever, right? All of a sudden I see stars, dog. And what had happened is he had took a cowboy boot and he freaking hit me. I don't think he meant to hit me in the head, but he
Right.
caught me in the temple because I was under a blanket, mind you, right?
Mhm.
Caught me in the temple, dude. And I freaking fell, dude. He knocked me out. And all I remember is being on the ground, and I'm a little kid, and he's panicking, right? Because I didn't get up. And I remember him telling my mom, he's like, you better call the emergency room, Elaine. I think I killed him. Dude, and I'm on the ground. I pissed myself, right?
Right.
And I can't believe it. And the next day I didn't go to school. And what did we say? Because we grew up, Western kids, chopping wood and shit. I
Right.
told him that I was using the log splitter and a log popped and hit me in the temple because my
Oh, nice.
face swelled up like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What a hand.
Yeah, and I didn't, and I know he didn't mean to do that, but sometimes as fathers, we get so caught up on our own rage or whatever because we haven't dealt with the pain that was inside of us that we tend to pass that on to our own kids. You know what I'm saying? Like for him, after knowing what he went through and his dad beating the hell out of him because he didn't have blue eyes and he was considered dark. You know what I'm saying? Even though he looked exactly like his old man,
Right.
dude, that's how my dad was brought up. So they could only give us what they were given. And that's what was given to him, unfortunately. And that's what he was trying to pass on to me in a roundabout way, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's very relatable as far as, how we had, how we were raised or whatever. Like I said, I didn't really have that bad of a life growing up as a kid. My mom made it happen. Like I said, I didn't know my dad till I was like 12 years old, and still to this day, like I can really give a shit about him. But he's a really good grandfather to my daughters. So I give him that, trying to make up for it. But my mom, she literally played both roles, right? Like my mom caught me looking at Playboy magazine one time. She didn't even get mad. She's just like, that's a woman's body. Look at it. It's beautiful. She's playing the dad part, right?
Yeah.
And then, we're in the kitchen one day. I forgot how old I was. And she had some friends there and I came in to eat and all the food was gone or something like that. And I called her a name in front of all her friends. She took me in the bathroom and hit me with a fucking bat, dude.
No shit.
Yeah. She had a bat and she was pretending to hit me. And when I fell back in the tub and I was like, no, mom. She was hitting me in the knees with the bat, not full force, but still. Yeah. But that's all I remember, right? I don't remember all the good times, all the time she took me to Disneyland and all the time she did this. And, that's the one thing that sticks out, right? And the one thing that sticks out with my daughters too, same thing, where I snatched her up like a rag doll because she was being mean to her sister. She just remembers that. And so, yeah, like I said, when it comes to the delivery and how you treat them and stuff, it'll be seared in your mind.
No, for sure.
You're never going to forget about that boot incident. I'm never going to forget about that bat incident. And Justine's not going to ever forget about me snatching her up like a rag doll, So I wanted, we all start out with, we want to be the best fathers that we can. And then the stuff doesn't work out. And fortunately for you, it has, but in your marriage and relationships and stuff, and the parents end up splitting up. And then you got to do what you didn't. You can have that one mom like, oh, you're not going to see your kids, and then the dad's like, oh, fuck it, then I got to see my kids.
Yeah.
And fortunately, that never happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
But what the point was when it happened to me was I didn't want to be like, oh shit, I'm alone, I'm single now. Now I don't want to be a better father. But then as time went by and stuff, of course, you gotta you realize you get older and you get more mature. So that has played a big impact in my life as well. I guess I've been going through a lot of guilt without kind of knowing it. It's been like suppressed,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
And then but then like I'll drown myself and work with it about it or whatever. And coming up here was just more of a fresh start for me with other things that I was going through in my life. Like I'm not running away from the problems.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm trying to become a better person by being alone, I guess you can say. So it's working out. It's working out, and I'm having better conversations, longer conversations. It's not just like, oh, hey, Dad, what's up? Oh, how was your day? How's it going? No, now the conversations are more in depth, and the questions are getting better and longer, and the phone calls are longer. So, at the end of the day, they're going to be involved in my life for the rest of my life. So I need to for the second half of my life, and and also the line of work that we're in, shit, could be tomorrow. So
yeah,
take that and capture it and do what I can do best.
Yeah, definitely be in the moment, man. I
think
that's where a lot of fathers make mistakes, is we're trying to do too many different things. And it's like, dude, just be there in the moment, be where your feet are.
Yeah.
So no, that's a good thing, dude. I agree with you. Sometimes you need to have that fresh start, and sometimes that takes you being isolated,
Yeah.
I think like a lot of the great men that you see all went to isolate and get rest and get perspective, right?
Right.
A lot of times though, I think what we don't do is these voices or whatever that we're listening to or whatever, or self-reflection or all that stuff, we try to drown out that pain by vices, right? By drinking, by partying, by work, everything like that. And sometimes it's just our own bodies telling us, hey man, you need to take a break. You need to deal with this. You need to see what's really making you tick, right? So that's good. I got to commend you. It's scary too, bro. When you get by yourself and isolate and start doing that inner work, dog, it's hard work, man, for sure.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, like you said, the word what you just said, self-reflection, seriously, like seriously. But then that's that. And when you do that, that's where it comes in, where it's like, oh, well, I guess I could, not I guess, like I should have done this better, or I should have been a husband, or I should have been a better father at this point, And at the end of the day, like coming on this podcast and stuff like that, I haven't really talked about, I haven't talked to anybody about being a father, and what it's like, when I'm at work with my buddies and stuff, like, for you guys, me, you have any kids? Yeah, I got $2. That's the extent of it, So coming on here, is yeah, it's a perfect day too, March 20th. This is the day I topped out in 2015. I guess you could say it was my 8th anniversary or whatever.
Right on. Heck yeah, congratulations.
Yeah. Me and my buddy Tom Stapp, we're 2 old guys in there. He's out of San Diego now, and he's a good dude. We have just me and him in there. I don't know how many guys you have in there now taking the test at the same time, but it was only 2 of us.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we had nobody to cheat off of. So
you already had the test in the parking lot. We know these.
No, but yeah. So talking about this now and stuff, this is also like a refresher for me. So thanks for having me on. I'm not trying to cut it off or anything, but I just wanted to thank you for inviting me on here, because it is giving me more clarity now and stuff. I was going to ask you, how do you approach it now with 2 adult daughters? How do you approach it now? How do you have that conversation now? Like, hey, girls, like, and there's really no reason to have it, right? I mean, as far as like, there's no problems, but it's like, hey, girls, I want to have a talk with you guys, and I want to explain to you like why I was the type of father I was. My dad never done that for me. My dad's never, my dad never taught me how to throw a ball. My dad didn't teach me how to fight. My dad didn't teach me. The only thing my dad gave me was fucking gout, because it's hereditary. That's it. And when I start thinking about that, I have resentment toward him. You know what I mean? And then after my mom raising me and stuff, me and my mom don't even have a really great relationship. And I know I've been half-assed son to her and stuff at times, but
Mhm.
it's just like, I don't know. I mean, I don't talk to my mom. I don't talk to my dad. I'm the common denominator, right? So
Yeah.
is it me fucked up or you know what I mean? So this is where where all the self-reflection comes in and stuff. So, I'll start, obviously you got to start with those who are closest to you, which
Yeah.
would be my daughter. So I just give me some insight on how I would approach that conversation.
First and foremost, brother, I
If,
think you carry a lot of unforgiveness. And I think one of the biggest unforgiveness, I just heard it when you're saying, is you need to forgive yourself, brother.
Mhm.
First and foremost, bro. Forgive yourself, dude. People make bad choices in life sometimes, and unfortunately, it leads us down a different path. But you're doing good for yourself now, bro. You are, and I'm proud of you.
Right. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
So start forgiving. Forgiveness, they say, is not necessarily for the person, right? But
Right.
forgiveness is for you. Because what unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Hmm.
It only hurts you. So you need to release that, dude. And forgiveness too isn't not forgetting, okay? Because there's still stuff that's happened in your life or stuff that certain people did or did not do, right?
Right.
And you're not saying that that's okay. All you're saying is, man, I release you for my own benefit. So I don't carry this garbage into the next generation, into
Right.
your daughters. You know what I'm saying? And once
Hmm.
you start working on that, whether it be writing a letter that your father may not even read or anything, that is just for you. You just write down what you would like to say to your own father and what would you like to say to your own mother, right? And it just releases you. It gets that off your chest. Once you do that, then I would start building those bridges towards a relationship with your daughters. Start connecting with them on a different level, because for daughters, right? And this is what I had to learn because I have daughters and sons,
Uh-huh.
or daughter and sons. Daughters need relationship before they do anything. And what I mean by that is they need to know that they are valuable in your eyes, right?
Hmm.
And everybody else says, "Oh, it's too late. It's late." It's never too late, brother. It's
Right.
never too late. Start treating them as the princess that they desire, because deep down inside every little girl, there is a deep yearning to please their father. And I even say that because my wife, I just came off on a hike with her before all this, on a conversation where she opened to me up to me about her own personal hurts towards her father, but she has to learn how to just forgive him so she doesn't carry this crap inside of her, right?
Hmm. Right. Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that. So shit. So basically you're telling me I need to try and help forgive my father, huh?
For your father and your mother, anybody who's ever hurt you, brother,
Yeah.
because what happens is you carry that,
Yes,
right?
I have.
And any pain that is not transformed is transferred. And that's what you transferred onto your daughters.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So you got to
Right.
start at the source, right? You got to destroy the tree at its roots so it can destroy the fruit from above as well. Because the fruit is what's happening with your daughters, right? And where did
Yes.
that root start? That root started with your own family of origin, right?
Hmm.
And then even with yourself, brother, forgive
Hmm.
yourself, dog. I mean, I heard it now when you said that you probably weren't the best son to your mama. You know what I mean? That,
Yeah.
to me, that's, you carry a certain sense of guilt in that
Hmm.
relationship, you know?
Yes. Yes. And yes, I agree with that 100%. And yeah, but it's at the same time, I'm not trying to be, forget that. I'm not gonna,
Hmm.
shield the apology or whatever. I know it does come down to, it does come down to you as the person for
Yeah.
sure, and yeah, man, like I said, being up here and stuff like that. These are all the things I've thought about and stuff and been
Hmm.
been doing. And then, like I said, coming on here, it's just giving me more clarity for it. So it's gonna take a little bit more time,
Yeah.
for my end. But like I said, I want to start with my daughters first, though, because I
Hmm.
think I have a bigger explanation than what they have now.
And
And,
just be, a lot of times, bro, you just got to be completely transparent and just be like, look, I own this. I
yes.
made the mistakes. I'm the one who chose to do this and stuff, and then just explain to him how, what you just said on here about being selfish and stuff like that. We had another guest, one of my first guests, right? He's a lineman too. He's the director up north, William Monzingo. Okay. Guy was a raging savage, dude, alcoholic, everything, right? Just completely just abusive, verbally. He would tear you down, everything, right? And the guy has a bad relationship with his daughters, right? He came on that podcast and he did this big old spill on how he wasn't the father that he wished that they would have. And, just went through his whole deal, dude. His daughters actually listened to that podcast. And they came to him and they're like, all right, we're ready to talk to you. Because they wouldn't even talk to him at all, bro.
Yeah. Wow.
Know?
Well, that's, this is what you're doing here, dude. This is an outlet for a lot of us, especially, linemen. Because we all got to admit, and it's not being egotistical or being machismo or anything like that. We are a fucking different breed, dude.
Yeah.
And so, we don't talk about this shit with a lot of other people, So it is an outlet here, and for some reason it makes you, you make us want, like, you're making me want to talk. You know what I mean? So, it's man. Thank you for this. It's eye opening, or not eye opening, but it's feels good to talk about it and to somebody, rather than to I guess a stranger or whatever you want to call it.
So I guess the $1 million question now for you, Paul, is, say you get this audience with your daughters, right? You say you want to talk to them, stuff like that. What is something that you would like to tell them?
Oh man, well, I would like them to know. I would just like them to know, like, I'm not making excuses for why I am the way that I am, but I would just like them, like, I just want them to know the type of person I was. The type of person I was when they were, after their mom and I separated, the type of person that I became, I should say. Yeah. That I'd like them to know that, and I'm not using that as an excuse. Like, this is why I didn't spend, as much time with you as I can and stuff like that. I just want to get it across to them that they're always both, my number one for sure. I mean, they're really the only two family members I have left that I even talk to, so. Yeah. But and it's also kind of a hard question to answer too right now. I guess it would have to just come in the moment as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but yeah, it's something that I probably have to think about. It wouldn't even be like a life, like, okay, girls, this is the life lesson. Like, I'm not trying to do any of that either. I want them to know about me and why their father is the way that he is or was, or whatever you want to call it. So I guess I'll cross that bridge when I get to it.
Yeah, for sure. And just remember, man, like I said earlier, you can only give what you can't give from an empty deposit, right? So if something was never deposited in you, you're not going to be able to give that as well, if that makes sense, right?
Yes.
And that's helped me with even my own forgiveness with my own father, is understanding that he could only give me what he could give me. I couldn't get a 20 if he only had a 5, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
So I think recognizing that and understanding that helps us to look through empathetic eyes and just really putting ourselves in the other person's shoes, you know what I mean? And what we had to go through or what they went through or whatever, I mean, that really helps, bro, especially with the healing process, because father wounds are deep, man. I've had guys come on this podcast and, bro, we're not even talking about that. And then, man, you just ask them how their relationship with their father was, man. You see these guys that are just these burly guys just crumble, dude. Myself included,
Yeah, like I said, I don't know if it's easier for me, or I don't know what you would call it, but it's not, like I said, my dad was never really involved in my life, so I can't say that he ever treated me bad. Well, I mean, obviously he was, to me, excuse me. To me, he was no good because he wasn't ever around or never even made an attempt.
Yeah.
Until the later years, and so, and he's never sat down and had that talk with me. And this is why this is what happened, or this is why I am the way that I am. And, none of that, no apology, anything, He treats his stepson like his real kid, or whatever. So then I have my jealousy issues with that too, as well, so that made me even have more animosity for him. So, I like I said, but I don't I refuse to let his absence be a part of how messed up I might be, or it might be a contributing factor. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been a pretty good dad as far as like the stuff I put into my kids and like how I raised them the first part of their lives before me and the wife stuff, or got divorced. So I just had to shoot from the hip, and at the same time just kind of use what my mom showed me. I never had that father figure. My mom had to play it. So so I just, man, it's a lot, dude. Like I said, I really have to start somewhere, and that's just something for me to figure out, or or just go by what what you had said. Forgive myself first, and like I said, I'm not trying to play the whole victim role here,
no,
at all, by far, no way, and just own up to which I have with my daughters, as far as I just want them to understand why I am the way that I am.
Yeah.
And if they can do that, then that will be a huge burden lifted off my shoulders. And then maybe work on my mom after that. I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, we definitely had this one guy tell me, how do you eat an elephant?
One piece at a time.
One piece at a time, exactly.
Yeah.
Man. Them small steps, man, just microdosing.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. I can't just I'm not gonna expect it to all happen at once. This could take time. Take a long time, So but I have to be the one that engages, though.
Yeah.
I can't hold back, and if I feel like I need to say something, make that call or send out that text, or hey mom, can you want to talk, or whatever. But you get too prideful for that sometimes, at least I do, so and the same thing with the girls, and I get upset because I know that they're young adults and they're living their lives now and stuff. And, if I say that, hey, I want to talk to you or whatever, and if they don't reply, or if they say they don't have time right now, I'm going to get pissed off about that. But they're not, that's fine, because I guess I deserve that. Right. That's the way I see it. So I don't know. I'll see how that goes. Hopefully I'll get a better response than what I just said.
No. The great thing, though, is, Paul, is you're still an influence. You're still in their life, right?
Yes. Oh yeah. Every day. We talk every day.
So, that's a great thing right there, dude. I know guys that have not talked to any of their children for years.
Yeah.
I have a buddy right now who works out here, and he's been on the road probably I'd say about 7, 8 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Guy never goes home. And I asked him, I was like, why aren't you going to go home? He's like, I'm having the time of my life out here in Southern California. And I'm like, bro, you have like 6 kids at the house. What are you doing? Well, I don't even know how I'm going to be a dad, he tells me, if I go home.
Well, bro, that's common. That's common. Like I told you, I don't know how to be a dad. Like, I don't feel like I know how to be a dad either, because of, like I said, when my youngest, got caught with, that weed and stuff, like I take her out to dinner to have like this talk, and it's like I'm sitting across from her telling her, like, Jade, I can't, like, what can I tell you? Like, how can I, discipline you right now when I'm the freaking worst one? So like, so a lot of us are going through that too, with not knowing dad, and or because we haven't done it in so long, right? Or like some guys haven't done it at all. They just had the kids and then they're gone. But dude, that part's hard. I'm not saying I understand where I understand where he's coming from. Yeah, but at some point you got to try, right?
Yeah, exactly. You just hit the nail right on the head. At some point in time, you got to come home and you got to try, because you still have a responsibility,
Yes, you got to face music.
Exactly. So what I thought was pretty interesting what you said about the whole weed situation and stuff like that. You talked about, in a sense, like, who am I to say anything? Okay, well, I'm going to give you some wisdom here, Paul. You're her dad. You have every right to say anything. And the reason being is because sometimes our mess is our message, dog. And what better person for her to get advice from someone who's been there, done that, lived it, and made the mistakes. Right. I'd much rather listen to a guy like yourself or some of the other guests we had on here than some dude who's never been in the sticky icky, as I call it, right?
Right.
Trying to tell me how to raise a family, how how to do this and what not to do, right?
Right. Yeah.
You have life experience that trumps everything else, dude.
Yeah.
And that's what you are supposed to give to your children, brother. So don't ever feel you're not qualified, dog.
Right. Right on, man. Yeah. You're absolutely right, for sure.
You are more than qualified, brother. Seriously.
Right on. Yeah.
So now our approach is the way we approach, you know what I mean?
Delivery.
The delivery. One time we were talking, I was going through some marriage counseling. Me and my wife were having some issues, right? And the lady turns around and says, she's like, well, if you don't want your husband to act like an asshole, then don't speak to the asshole. Right. So speak to him like a man. Speak to him, how you want him to respond, basically. And I was like, see, you know what I mean? But it's true, if you come off in a very, disciplinary, all that stuff, then that's probably not going to be well received. But if you come from a standpoint of, man, I've made a lot of mistakes, man, and don't do it. It's not worth it. Listen to me. If there's anything I can teach you, don't do this, because I see this, I know this. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. It is. It definitely is the delivery, that comes down to with how you talk to people in general out in public, and how you kids and stuff. And I know my delivery is a little fucked up, maybe a lot, my heart's in the right place.
Yeah.
But, but I mean, it's just the way that, if that's the way they take it, and then, it's like, oh, if that's the way they take it, then fuck them, So,
yeah.
But, but definitely my heart's definitely in the right place. I'd say 99% of the time. So.
I got to agree with you, Paul. And that's why I invited you on here, bro, because I see it. I see a guy who, man, just loves life, because you do. You love life.
I do. I get a little selfish with it sometimes.
Yeah, but it is what it is. And sometimes we just got to enjoy the little things as well, whether it even be just buying yourself a skateboard and just skating. You know what I'm saying? And just, I like that. You know what I mean? Because I think too many people have been so hardened by life, and it's good to see that you have been through some hard stuff in your life, right? And it still hasn't dampened that spirit within inside you, brother. It still hasn't. You still have that exploratory. I mean, don't take this the wrong way. I don't want to say it this way, but like the child, that innocence that's still in you. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing, bro. And that's why people are attracted to you. Okay. Cause you're not corrupted by this world. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Life has an ability of just sucking the life out of you, bro. And just people get hard and bitter, and you don't even want to be around them people, for real.
No, not at all. And I don't even want, I don't want to be around those people. I don't want to be that person. And you're absolutely right. Like what was it, Saturday or whatever, I wanted to go hit the tracks on the BMX bikes and stuff, shit like that, and that's entertainment to me. And refusing to get older, as far as I got to keep the muscle memory, dude. You know what I mean? I want to be able to walk and drink water or drink a beer at the same time.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys, like you said, they'll let life eat them up, and whether we have our personal, and your personal issues can eat you up too as well, which is it's life. But I can't let David, I don't feel like I got to let a lot of shit go, and not let it eat me up and keep me down, and not just put a fucking Band-Aid on it.
Yeah, deal with the root issues, right? For sure.
Deal with the issues, for sure.
What bit of advice could you give the young listener now listening, brother?
The young listener, we all want to be happy, right? At the end of the day, we all want to be happy. We want to make it. So if you're not, your happiness comes first as an individual. So if you're not happy, you cannot make anybody else around you happy. So that's the only advice. That's the advice I would give. Like riding these bikes and these skateboards and work and making money and traveling, that makes me happy, right? So when Paul's mad, then everybody's mad. When Paul's happy, then everybody's happy. But we all, I want to be happy. That's the end goal. It's not who dies with the most toys or who dies with the most money. If you went through life living a good life and being happy and making everyone else around you happy, then I think you did all right. So your happiness comes first, and if you can't make yourself happy, you can't make anyone else around you happy.
Yeah, definitely operating from a place where you can just give yourself away, just being in a
Yeah.
correct space that you can be like, hey,
Mhm.
man, I want to just give this out to people.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And you can do it in a way where, like, now, like nowadays, you have to watch what you say, and you can't really say too much, especially out here where, who I'm working for right now and stuff.
Yeah.
You can't you can't say to an apprentice, know your role. That's considered an act of aggression. Just that
Oh, wow.
statement there. Yeah. So, when you're at work and stuff, and like, I want to be happy at work, and we're working, and we're up, up in the primary, and your head's in the game, but you're just having conversation. You can talk about this, but hey, man,
Mhm.
you got, your tail, 3-way communication. But at the same time, right after that, it's like, so how was it last night? Like stuff like that. That makes me happy up there when I can work
Yeah.
with the crew and get along and stuff. That's why, when it comes to apprentices and stuff like that nowadays, I want to be on their side.
Yeah.
I want them to top out. I want to, I used to love, like, I treat your apprentices accordingly. I was treated accordingly, right?
Mhm.
So a lot of times, at 47, I would tell the apprentice, I'd say, if he was a good apprentice, and maybe I don't know if I should be saying this or not, but if he was a good apprentice, higher step, and it's time for his apprentice report. I say, you know what? Take that home and fill it out yourself, and give
Mhm.
it back to me, and let me read it. Let him critique himself, and then
Yeah.
if I did some of the things, I change it up, stuff like that. But then now it's like, I got, this apprentice is not retaining this, that, and the other. Again, I was that guy. I was somebody else's problem. I'm
Yeah.
just now starting to realize that now. And I always say I refuse to say I'm getting old, but in my old age, I'm starting to learn that now, because these guys have to go home too, to their kids, and to their and there's guys over here that are literally just fucking just dragging up and quitting and going to work at fucking Home Depot, dude,
Wow.
because of the stress that it is, and it's stressful. And do the whole back in my day, stuff like that, and it is a change. The culture has changed a lot with these new hands that are coming up. Like, a lot of these kids don't even know how to change a fucking tire on a car, dude, or put
Yeah.
chains on, on tires. So and so easing up and thinking about the bigger picture of them, like, yeah, it's just not the work picture here. It's these men, which, because they're men, they have to go home to their kids, and what are they gonna do? Beat their kid because they had a bad day at work? Who knows?
Yeah.
So it's a chain reaction, dude. Definitely is a chain reaction.
Mhm.
And so just yeah, man, I want to clown around and make everybody happy, and and that's it. And so, like,
Mhm.
that's it's kind of what I'm going by right now.
Right on, man. Well, Paul, thank you so much, brother, for coming on here and just sharing your story, your information, man. And I know our audience is gonna have get a tremendous value from it, dude. And I thank you for just being so courageous and transparent.
Well,
Seriously.
man, thanks for having me. I appreciate it, man. And yeah, definitely um yeah, thank you very much. And you've opened my eyes to a lot of things as well. So thank you for that. Thank you for your words of wisdom as well.
Right on, man. Well,
And keep doing what you're doing, dude. And you have my
right.
full support any time of the day, week. You can call me, or shit, I got your personal number now, dude. So I'm gonna call you, man, if I'm all
Yeah.
drunk and feeling bad or something like that. Expect an earful on what I should do, dude, before I walk off the
Hit me
cliff.
up. That's what I'm here for, brother.
So,
Right
all right, brother. Well, thank you very much.
right on, man. Thank you.